What's up guys, it's Dean. In today's video, we're going to go over one of the first lessons I teach everybody from day one, how to find notes on the keyboard. This is a very basic lesson, but one of the most important things to master if you want to learn how to play the keyboard or piano. Before we start the lesson, I'm just going to quickly teach you about your fingers, or specifically the numbers which we assign them. Basically, in both our hands, thumb is 1, and we count outwards towards our pinkies, so 2, 3, 4, and 5. That would make our pinkies number 5. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, let's start the actual lesson. We'll start by making a few obvious observations of the keyboard. The keyboard has black keys and white keys. The black keys are set up in groups of 2 and 3, and this pattern repeats across the entire keyboard. So 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Let's familiarize ourselves with these with a couple of tasks. Alright, task number 1. With any 2 adjacent fingers in your left hand, we're going to start at the leftmost part of the keyboard and play all the groups of 2 black keys on your keyboard simultaneously or blocked, and go up the keyboard from left to right until we reach about the middle. And when your left hand reaches this point, we're going to switch to our right hand and continue until you've played all the way up to the right side of the keyboard. So let me demonstrate. Switching to the right hand. Alright, so the next task is going to be slightly different. With our right hand, we're going to play all the groups of 3 black keys on your keyboard, starting from the rightmost part of the keyboard and go down the keyboard from right to left. However, this time, instead of playing them as blocks, like this, we're going to play them broken instead. It doesn't matter what fingers you use as long as they're adjacent. For example, you could use 1, 2, 3, or 2, 3, 4, or 3, 4, 5. As you play each group, start with the black key on the left and then go up. So I'll start up here on the right side. Now I'm going to switch to my left hand. I'd recommend trying out different sets of finger numbers just to see how they feel. So 1, 2, 3 would feel a little bit different from 2, 3, 4 or 3, 4, 5. Okay, now that you've mastered the groups of black keys, it's time to start to identify the names of the keys. If you don't already know, the musical alphabet only consists of 7 letters: A, B, C, D, E, F, G. This pattern corresponds to the white keys on the keyboard, and it just repeats itself until you run out of the keys. Now, since my name is Dean, I usually teach my students the key D first. This one can be found directly in the middle of the 2 black keys. So here's a group of 2 black keys, and D would be right in the middle. Just to make sure you've got it, I've got another task for you. I want you to use any finger and play all the Ds on your keyboard. Remember to use your left hand for the left side of your keyboard and the right hand for the right side. I'll demonstrate quickly, but you can go as slow as you need to. Don't play the key until you're 100% sure that you've got it. Now, you might have more keys than me on your keyboard. It doesn't matter. Just play all the Ds that you have on your keyboard. If it's bigger or smaller, it doesn't matter. Alright, now the next step is pretty neat. Since you already know the musical alphabet, and you now know how to find D, we can actually use D as a guide to help us find the 2 notes beside it in the alphabet: C and E. So just like the alphabet, if we're going to spell out C, D, E, C would be on the left side of D, and E would be on the right side of D. So we got C, D, E. Now before we go any further, I want to make one thing very clear. Unlike the English alphabet, it is extremely important for us to be able to think of the musical alphabet in two directions, from left to right, and also from right to left. So now let's try a few combinations. Feel free to play along with me or pause the video and try it on your own. You can also use any fingers you like as long as they are adjacent. Let's try C, D, E, C, E, D. Let's try D, C, E, D, E, C, E, D, C, and then E, C, D. Okay, great. Feel free to practice that some more on your own to really memorize it, but let's move on for now. There are two more keys I like to teach right away after D. The next one is F, which is directly to the left of the group of 3 black keys. So here's our group of 3 black keys. And then F would be directly to the left. Now, just like with D, we're going to play all the Fs on our keyboard, but instead of starting with our left hand, well, if you did your left hand first last time, start with your right hand this time. So I'm going to start with my right hand up here. F. Remember not to play the key until you are 100% sure you've got it under your finger. Please go at your own pace. You don't have to go as quick as I am. Okay, great. Now that you know F, using the same logic as we did with D, we can find 2 additional notes beside F. They would be E and G. Let's try some combinations of E, F, G. Except this time we're also going to try them in different areas of the keyboard, starting with the one farthest to the left. So for me it'll be over here. And by the way, for future reference, I will refer to the farthest left area of the keyboard to be lower notes and the farthest right part of the keyboard to be higher notes. Anyway, back to these combinations of E, F, G. Remember to go at your own pace. So E, F, G, and then E, G, F. Now switching to my right hand, we're going to do F, E, G, F, G, E, and then G, E, F. And one more, G, F, E. I'll come back down here. All right, nice. The final key I teach is B. This one can be found directly to the right of the group of 3 black keys. So here's our group of 3. Sometimes people get confused between B and F because they're kind of mirror images of each other, or they forget which one was on the left or which one was on the right of the group of 3. That's okay. Just make sure you pay very close attention and that you double or triple check before playing anything. With that said, take your time and play all the Bs on your keyboard. I'm going to start on the high side now. Now, using the same approach that we did with D and F, we can use B as a guide to help us find the notes beside it, A and C. Now, just like before, let's try playing some combinations of A, B, C, but this time we'll start from the farthest right. And then A, C, B. And then BAC, and then BCA, and then CAB, and then CBA. Okay, so there are 3 main notes that we need to take away from this lesson: D, F, and B. Just for extra practice, let's play all the D's, F's, and B's in that order up and down the piano. So, starting with D down here for me, and then F, B, and then D, and then F, and then B, and then D, and then F, and then B, and then D, and then F, and then B, and then D, and then F, and then B. Now we're going to go back this way, down this way. Now B, and then F, and then D, B, F, D, B, F, D, B. I switched hands there. F, D, B, F, D. Awesome. You might need to practice this some more to really solidify it in your mind and memorize it, but trust me when I say it's worth it. You don't want to be thinking too much about where the notes are while you're trying to learn songs, which would require you to think of way more notes, often simultaneously. To really see if you've got it down, get up and take a walk away from your piano, come back, sit down and see if you retained it all. If you didn't retain this all, practice some more. That's it for today's video, guys. If you have any suggestions or requests for more lessons you'd like to see, please let me know in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more videos. Thanks for watching, guys. See you later.